Hello, I'm Neil Keane, CTO of Gryphon AI. And today I want to continue our discussion of how delivering contact compliance across your organization can ensure that you're reaching as many people as possible through your marketing and sales activities, while also ensuring you're compliant with the government regulations and company brand guidelines. In this short video, we'll look at how to get started with automating compliance and walk through a maturity model that outlines best practices for companies to reach the maximum number of customers and prospects. But before we get too deep into the presentation, let's take a look at the definition for intelligent contact compliance. Any company that does outbound marketing and sales campaigns or does any customer service inbound via voice, mobile, SMS, text, email, any channel for that matter, is required to follow federal and state regulations required for do not contact. For example, before making a contact or making a call, companies need to know: are we calling someone on the do not contact list? Are they using their mobile phones and are thereby covered by TCPA laws? Are we calling during appropriate hours and not during a curfew? Or is there a state of emergency going on where the person is located? These are just a few important scenarios you need to understand to ensure that you're being compliant. But intelligent contact compliance is more than just knowing if you're complying with rules before the call. It's also about ensuring compliance during and after a conversation. For example, during a call, you need to know if your agents are reading the appropriate notifications, notices, disclosures. And after a call, do they have access to detailed reporting and dashboards to see how compliant your agents have been and finding areas for possible improvement? You want to be able to do this across all use cases, whether it be sales, marketing from an outbound perspective, servicing on an inbound, or for those unique use cases like debt collections that have specific rules. As we look at the way most companies have this deployed, the old way was doing it with static list management. So a homegrown application with rules that are managed and maintained by a compliance organization with data lookups for customer lists is the traditional model for how this is done. The new way is to integrate a seamless service that can be called by any application, whether it be CRM for sales, marketing automation, workflow management systems, and available to do it both in real time as well as offline batch, and to monitor all activity from a compliance standpoint to ensure that you're balancing the risk mitigation with maximizing the number of people you can reach simultaneously. So let's take a look at the maturity model. The good news is there are best practices about how to follow a maturity model to help you understand where you are today and how you can be more compliant across all of your customer engagement. This maturity model highlights the typical journey to ensuring contact compliance across the enterprise. Many companies start by just building a homegrown application. They typically will do this for a line of business with database lookups. So they may check one or two regulatory databases, like the do not contact list for a state or at the federal level, or do a lookup to determine if someone is matching the TCPA regulatory guidelines. With a homegrown approach, this has to be managed and maintained and typically only supports one or two lines of business. It's not rolled out across the organization. Moving up the maturity curve, the next stage typically is around manual contact certification, where users can check contact records before they make a call or send a marketing campaign. This step allows customers to be proactive, but typically in a very manual way, typically starting with the line of business as well. As the service level matures, intelligent contact compliance needs to be scalable. It needs to be integrated across the organization. Every system should be able to make a call and determine, am I mitigating risk and am I meeting regulatory requirements? It needs to be seamless as a part of the marketing and sales servicing process, and also needs to support all of the appropriate contact channels. It needs to be integrated and managed and maintained externally. With the mastery of contact compliance, the next step within any organization is contact optimization. This is where you start to recover accounts that may have been incorrectly marked as unreachable, and the effort may be overly conservative with compliance and optimization. It's not uncommon to see 25, 35, 40% or more of recovery of contacts where you may have been overly conservative in your approach to ensuring compliance. And finally, as you get to the enterprise level of contact compliance, this is where we bring in before, during, and after each interaction. At lower levels of the maturity model, the goal is to minimize risk. How do we reduce the amount of impact that we could possibly face in fines or lawsuits and help reduce the existing and potential costs associated with being out of compliance? As you move up through the organization, the real opportunity is maximizing reach. This helps your team address the largest possible audience to drive revenue, increase profitability, and increase market share. So where do you stand on this maturity model? If you'd like to learn more about this maturity model, please give us a call. We'd like to hear from you and like to discuss it in more detail and help you put together an intelligent plan. Contact us at www.gryphon.ai. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you.